All right, so you want to build a custom home. You've been doing your research too?
Yeah.
Especially with how the economy has been lately.
Right?
It's smart to be cautious.
Yeah.
You sent over this PDF, Bursting the Housing Bubble.
Okay.
And one of the things that really stood out to me was this idea of starting smaller, like with a prefab home, and then expanding later.
I see.
What do you think about that strategy?
Oh, I think that's a really clever approach.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Okay.
With interest rates being so high and inflation the way it is, it might not be the best idea to jump into some huge mortgage right now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But, this smaller now, bigger later idea that gives you a way to get your foot in the door without going overboard.
Yeah, without overstretching yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Financially.
Exactly. It's like a stepping stone, but in a good way.
I like that.
You start with a smaller prefab, something that suits your needs right now.
Right.
And then when things are more stable or you've got some more savings built up, then you can expand.
Yeah, exactly.
But I got to admit, when I first saw the word prefab, I immediately thought, cheap.
Yeah.
Probably not great for resale, but this PDF actually says the opposite.
Oh, great.
That prefab can actually have a higher resale value than traditional builds.
Interesting.
Why is that?
Well, a lot of people think that prefab means low quality.
Okay.
It's just a common misconception.
Yeah.
But today's prefab homes, they're built to very high standards.
Okay.
Often exceeding building codes even.
It's interesting.
And they're super energy efficient.
Okay.
And that's a big selling point for a lot of buyers these days.
Right.
Everyone's worried about those rising energy costs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And plus, they usually have this modern, sleek aesthetic that a lot of people find appealing.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the initial savings.
Right.
It's a long-term investment.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
This PDF also mentions lower upfront costs because you're using less land and materials and labor.
Less of everything.
How does that all tie into inflation?
No, think about it this way.
Okay.
Inflation means everything costs more, right?
Yeah.
Including all your construction materials.
Right.
And labor. So if you're building a smaller home, you're inherently using less of everything.
Okay.
Which means you're going to be less impacted by those rising costs.
So it's like a double whammy of savings.
Yeah.
Less square footage and less exposure to inflation.
Exactly.
Like it.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Speaking of savings, the PDF also talked about lower monthly payments.
Right.
So is that just because the mortgage is smaller?
Well, that's the main reason.
Okay.
A smaller mortgage means less interest that you're paying over time.
Right.
But there's also the potential for lower property taxes, too.
Okay.
Depending on the size of your home and where it's located.
Right.
And then, of course, there's those energy efficiency savings, too.
Right.
Lower utility bills every month.
So those smaller monthly payments could really free up some breathing room in your budget.
For sure.
I like that a lot.
It makes a big difference.
So you mentioned wanting a natural, cozy feel with exposed timber and open spaces.
Yeah.
This PDF really emphasizes cedar and post and beam construction. Is that what they had in mind?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Cedar's a fantastic choice for that look.
Yeah.
It's got that warm, inviting look, and it ages really well.
Okay.
Plus, it's naturally durable.
Okay.
And it's resistant to rot and insects.
Oh, that's good.
And then when you combine that with the post and beam construction, you get those exposed timbers. That adds a real sense of grandeur and spaciousness.
I've always loved exposed beams.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But I gotta admit, I don't really know much about the structural advantages of post and beam.
Right.
Is there more to it than just looks?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
So with post and beam construction, you're using these large vertical posts and horizontal beams to create this strong framework.
Okay.
And this lets you have these wider open spaces and fewer interior walls.
Yeah.
Which really contributes to that open airy feel that you're looking for.
I like that.
And plus it's very durable.
Okay.
And it lasts a long time.
So it's both aesthetically pleasing and structurally sound.
The best of both worlds.
This is starting to paint a pretty compelling picture.
Yeah.
I know you're also interested in customization.
Right.
Things like cedar siding.
Yeah.
Vaulted ceilings. Maybe even a fireplace.
Okay.
Can you still get those details? In a smaller prefab?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about those prefab kits? Okay. They sell at, like, Home Depot.
So you're thinking like...
Yeah, like those really basic cookie cutter ones?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
You can definitely still get those unique custom details. Even in a prefab structure.
Even if you're starting smaller?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's a thought.
Yeah.
The money you save by starting smaller might actually free up some room in your budget to add in some of those special touches that you wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah. You could actually end up with a more customized home because you were smart about the initial size.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
This PDF also mentions relocating to a lower-cost state as a way to make that budget go even further.
I see.
But honestly, moving is a big decision.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some things to consider?
Before you, like, uproot your entire life?
Well, the PDF suggests really thinking about your lifestyle and your priorities. You know, things like climate, access to good health care, the quality of the schools, even the local job market.
Yeah, you got to think about all that.
It's about finding a place that aligns with your values, not just finding the cheapest option.
So even if a state is super affordable, it might not be the right fit if it doesn't match your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Or your long-term goals.
Yeah, you have to think long-term.
Right.
And there are always trade-offs.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you save money on housing, but maybe the cost of living is higher in other areas.
Right.
Or the job market isn't as strong.
Okay.
So it's about weighing the pros and cons and making sure you're not sacrificing something essential just for the sake of affordability.
It's all about finding that balance.
Right.
Where you can live comfortably and afford the things you want.
Yeah.
But without feeling like you're compromising the quality of life.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
And there's also the emotional side of it, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sometimes we get so focused on the financial that we forget about the emotional.
Exactly.
Moving to a new place. That means leaving behind your support network.
Yeah.
You know, your family, your friends. That sense of community.
Right.
That's a lot to consider.
Yeah, it's tough.
So let's say you've weighed all the options.
Okay.
And you've decided that relocating is right for you. This PDF talks about places like Texas, Florida, and Tennessee being popular destinations.
Yeah, they are.
What's drawing people to those areas?
Well, a big factor is the lower cost of living.
Okay.
Housing costs are generally much lower than in, like, those high-cost areas. And a lot of times, property taxes are lower, too. And on top of that, a lot of these states have a more business-friendly environment. So you might have more job opportunities and a stronger economy.
So it's not just about saving money on a house. It's about potentially better job opportunities.
Exactly.
And just a lower overall cost of living.
Yeah.
But what about things like healthcare and education and infrastructure?
Right.
Are those areas keeping pace?
That's a good question.
With all the new residents coming in?
It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
It's really important to do your research on specific areas within each state. You know, some towns and cities might have better healthcare facilities or school systems than others.
Right.
And infrastructure can vary a lot.
Okay.
Especially in places that are growing rapidly.
So it's not just about picking a state. It's about finding the right community within that state.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's a lot of research involved.
There's definitely some homework to do.
Okay.
But the good news is there are tons of resources out there to help you gather all that information. You know, you can look online, talk to local organizations, real estate agents in different states. And if you can go visit these potential areas and talk to people who live there, there's no substitute for firsthand experience.
That's a great point.
Yeah, you really get a feel for it.
All right, let's switch gears again.
Okay.
And talk about the actual building process. This PDF mentions something about low-cost states having more freedom and flexibility when it comes to construction.
Interesting.
Is that something to get excited about?
It could be.
Okay.
A lot of low-cost states have fewer building codes and regulations. And that can be a big plus for people who want more control over their home design and the building process.
Okay, but fewer regulations. Yeah.
Doesn't that sound a little...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Unsafe.
It's not really about a lack of safety standards.
Right.
It's more about having more options and flexibility.
So, for example, what could that look like?
Well, you might have more freedom to use different building materials or to incorporate some unique design features that might not be allowed in a place with stricter rules.
So it's less about cutting corners and more about having that freedom to really think outside the box and build something unique.
I like that.
And it also probably means faster construction timelines.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're dealing with less red tape.
Less bureaucracy.
Less bureaucracy.
It can really speed things up.
That's a big plus, especially if you're eager to move in and start enjoying your new home.
For sure.
This PDF also mentioned alternative energy solutions.
Oh, yeah.
Being more common in a lot of these low-cost states.
Why is that?
Well, a lot of these states have tons of sunshine. Which makes solar power a really viable option.
Makes sense.
And some states even offer financial incentives for homeowners who install solar panels or other renewable energy systems.
That's really cool.
Plus, there's often just a more widespread acceptance of these technologies in general in areas that are really focused on growth and innovation.
It sounds like these states are embracing the future of sustainable living.
They're ahead of the curve.
But let's be realistic.
Okay.
Are these alternative energy solutions actually affordable?
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
For the average homeowner.
But the costs have come down a lot in recent years, making them more accessible.
Right,
And remember, in a low-cost state, you might just have more financial wiggle room to invest in those upgrades.
Right.
And plus, the long-term savings on your energy bills really start to add up.
So it's an investment that pays off over time.
Yeah.
Both financially and environmentally.
It's good investment.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to touch on.
Okay.
The PDF talked about how relocating to a low-cost state can impact your decision.
Right.
About paying cash versus financing.
Okay.
Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
So let's say you're selling your current home in a high-cost area.
Okay.
And you're moving to a more affordable state.
Right.
You might end up with a good chunk of equity from that sale.
Yeah.
Which could put you in a position to pay cash for your new prefab home.
Wow.
Yeah.
No mortgage payments. Instant ownership.
It's the dream.
That's got to be the dream for a lot of people.
It is.
But even if you can't pay cash outright, financing in a low-cost state could still be a good move.
Absolutely.
Your mortgage will probably be smaller.
Right.
Your interest rates might be lower. And those monthly payments are going to be more manageable.
Yeah, it can make a big difference.
But let's be honest. Moving to a new state, building a new house.
Right.
That's a little intimidating.
It's a big step.
Where do you even begin?
Well, it can definitely feel overwhelming.
Right.
But like with any big project, if you break it down into smaller steps, it feels more manageable.
Right. Bite-sized pieces.
Exactly.
So maybe start by researching different prefab home designs and looking into builders.
Right.
Then you can start exploring those potential low-cost states. Yeah.
Narrow down your options based on your lifestyle needs and priorities.
It's all about gathering intel points.
Exactly.
Right.
Getting a clearer picture of what's out there and what might be a good fit for you.
And I think that's what this PDF was getting at. Just opening your eyes to possibilities you might not have even considered before.
It's about expanding your horizons.
Right.
Realizing that there are multiple paths to home ownership.
And it might not look like what you initially envisioned, but it could be even better.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Yeah, sometimes we get so fixated on a specific vision that we miss out on other great opportunities.
Right.
That might be a better fit.
That could be more fulfilling.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to shift gears just for a moment here and talk about something we haven't touched on yet. The emotional aspect of building a home. I mean, it's a huge investment.
It is.
Not just financially, but emotionally, too.
Yeah, it takes a toll.
So how do you stay grounded? How do you stay focused throughout that whole journey?
Well, communication is key.
Okay.
You have to talk to your partner, your family, your builder, anyone who's involved in this process.
Okay.
Share your concerns. Celebrate those milestones. And you got to lean on each other for support when things get tough.
That's really important.
It is.
And remember to take breaks.
Yeah.
Recharge. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a long process.
Yeah, it's such good advice.
Yeah, you have to pace yourself.
It's easy to get caught up in all the details. Forget about the human side of things.
Yeah, it's easy to do that.
Yes. Okay. As we're wrapping up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the practical and the financial aspects of building a home.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about creating a space that brings you joy.
Yeah.
That reflects who you are.
It's your personality.
Your style.
It's about building a home.
Right.
That nurtures your well-being.
Yeah.
That supports your lifestyle.
Creates memories. Yeah. That'll last a lifetime.
It's special.
That's beautifully said.
Thank you.
So as you're moving forward with your plans, remember to keep that bigger picture in mind. Focus on creating a home that truly feels like yours.
Right.
A place where you can relax, recharge, and just be yourself.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
Hopefully.
And remember, if you've got any questions or you need some guidance, don't hesitate to reach out.
We're here to help.
We're always here to help you navigate the exciting world of home building.
That's right.
And with that, we'll say farewell for now.
Okay.
Happy building.